Well, hey, this is Rhonda Simmons, and I am the founder and CEO of the Simmons Empowerment Foundation, as well as Rhonda L. Simmons, LLC. And welcome to another episode of Empowered Heart to Heart. Am I so glad that you're here? Let me tell you why. Oh my goodness, are you sitting down? Okay, well, let me tell you. This is episode 100. Woo! Okay, I still haven't figured out how to play my applause automated background on this little box thing I have next to me, but I'll figure that out hopefully by episode 200. In the meantime, this is episode 100 and the start of another series called The Heart of the Matter. And I am so excited about all of it because in this series, I'm interviewing people who fit into one of two categories. Either they are a medical professional or a health coach of some sort who deals specifically with heart healthy living and eating and exercising, because February in America, February is Heart Month. And so that's why I wanted to bring on some guests to talk to us about how we can better take care of our hearts. Or our guests fit into the other category because in America, it's also Black History Month in February. And so I wanted to bring on some guests who are Black, I shall say, because I have guests who are Black but are not American. But I wanted to bring on some guests who are Black, who have become successful in their respective careers. They overcame rather. I'm so excited I can't talk. They overcame a lot of things to get where they are today, and they're willing to share their experiences. And so today I have on our 100th episode, yes, 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 and to kick off our series of the heart of the matter, I have a very special guest. But before I tell you who she is, I want to tell you right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you need to like, comment, and share this video so that people will know that you're watching it and we can get the exposure that we deserve. We're doing a great work over here, and I know many people are, millions of people are too. But you're here, you're watching, so you thought we were worth the time. So share the video, okay? And subscribe. Also make sure you click the notification button so that you'll be notified every single time I post a video, because I'm telling you, 2024 rolled around and I am on a mission. I have kicked it into high gear. So I'm posting often throughout the week. You don't want to miss a single video. Also, if you're on social media, so are we. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. And our handle is TSEFIORG. That's short for the Simmons Empowerment Foundation Incorporated. We're out here, we're trying to make an impact on our communities around the world. And so today is no exception. And so to kick off our 100th episode, that's about the fifth time I've said it. And just prepare yourself because I'll say it more throughout the episode. But to kick off our Heart of the Matter series, I am so excited to bring to you my friend and our guest, Dr. Eleanor Akaho, all the way from the UK, and I am so excited. Hello,
Hi.
Dr. L.
Hi, thank you so much for just having me because number one, the 100th episode, so congratulations. But also thank you because I love your podcast. As I said to you, I was binge listening last weekend, and I'm just honored to be here. So thank you.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I am honored to have you on the show. And before we go any further, as I introduced you as Dr. Eleanor Akaho, what type of doctor are you?
So I'm a medical doctor and I specialize in psychiatry. I graduated in 2011 as a doctor, and then I've been working within psychiatry since 2013.
Wow, that is fantastic. Oh my goodness. So you made it. Here you are. Is that what you've always wanted to be, was a doctor?
Since I was young, actually, because I have a quite a long history, and this kind of delves back a bit. But even from around the age of 4 or 5, I said I wanted to be a doctor, And one of the first people I told was actually my doctor. So I was born with a few medical conditions. I was actually in the neonatal intensive care unit as a baby. And then I had about 6 operations before the age of 12. So if I wasn't in hospital for an operation, I was having checkups all the time. And my favorite doctor, the one who really inspired me, was actually the one who operated on both my eyes and my lips. So he was just really inspirational. And I remember telling him, when I grow up, I'm going to be like you. I'm going to be a doctor. So yeah, I knew from quite a young age. I did change my mind partway through, and that's one of the things I want to talk about, just confidence, because I don't think it was really me changing my mind because I didn't want to do it anymore. I think it was me changing my mind because I didn't think I could, and I've managed to prove myself wrong. But I'm hoping that I also prove other people wrong who feel like this is a dream of mine that I can't fulfill.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love it. The confidence that you need to succeed. That is amazing. And so you mentioned that you had to overcome some medical issues, and I'm assuming that you've overcome them and they're behind you now, I hope.
Yeah, like yeah, some of the conditions are still there, but they don't impact me. And I've always said I believe in God, and I've always said I feel like I've been given just enough medical difficulties to inspire me to do this as a career, but then not enough to hold me back. So yeah, I'm able to do all the things that I need to do work wise.
Oh my goodness, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Now, I know you're from the UK, which is exciting. To my audience, I told you we were already global, and this just solidifies that even more so. But even in the UK, how popular is it to see a black doctor?
Well, if I put some numbers to it, there were 140 people in my cohort at medical school, and 5 or 6 of us were black. So that yeah, that gives you an indication of how common it was. I did go to a university that was outside of one of the main cities, so that could have been part of the reason why there were so few black people. But I do feel like that is a huge factor for a lot of people when they are considering where they're studying and where they're going to train, because it not only does it impact your confidence if you don't see many people like you doing the role, but I think even the exposure to patients who are of your color or similar background or something along those lines. If you're not really exposed to people that you feel kind of people that you've grown up with and feel comfortable with culturally, then I think that can have an impact on your confidence when you're training as well.
No doubt, no doubt about it. Wow. Wow, you are just making strides. I'm just so impressed with all that you're doing and all that you have done. You're so inspirational. And y'all, as you can see, this is not a senior citizen I'm talking to. I mean, nothing wrong with senior citizens, but as a young black woman, you're doing it. You're setting the example, you're raising the bar. That's wonderful. So now that you've accomplished that huge milestone, what's next for you?
Well, as well as being a psychiatrist, I am also a personal development coach. So I did training between 2017 and 2019 because I really wanted to coach women. So what you're doing here is similar to what I've done in the past. I'm currently taking a bit of a break from it, but I really want to push women forward, just inspire them to do their best and be their best. So that is a huge passion of mine. Um, Also just kind of supporting women in other countries as well. So my parents are of Ghanaian heritage, and one of the things I do is sponsor girls abroad in Ghana, because I feel like I've been very blessed to have all the opportunities that I do, but I really want young girls, elsewhere, not only to be inspired through kind of words and messages and support in that sense, but also being given financial backing to help them get to where they want to be as well. And I've been sponsoring the same 10 girls for about 7 years now. So it's been really lovely to see them grow up, and some of them want to be in the medical field as well, which is really lovely to hear. So it's just nice to encourage them.
Wow. And did you say 10 girls that you're
Yeah.
sponsoring? That is amazing. Now, do they know that you're their sponsor?
Yeah, so we write letters and send photos and like Christmas gifts and small things like that. So yeah, it's really nice. And they know I'm Ghanaian as well. I wanted them to know so that they don't feel like, my background, my gender, my race is going to hold me back. And I really want them to see that, you can do well for yourself.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, wow. That is fantastic. I'm so amazed at the human spirit, in the sense that it's recorded in history. We can do whatever we set our minds to.
Yes.
And you are living proof of that. That is wonderful. Now, do you have a private practice of your own, or is that something that you want to do?
No, it's not something. It's not something I want to do. It's interesting because I've always had thoughts like, I want to set up my own business. I want to run my own business. When I think about the amount of work that needs to go into it, like I've experienced it. I've begun, I've started certain things, and I just thought, what, this is not for everyone. A lot of people think, as an entrepreneur, you're going to be, you're going to have more free time, and you're going to have, more just kind of ownership of what you're doing, but it's not always as straightforward as you think it is. And I think that's one of the things I've learned. So I actually work for a not-for-profit service, and then I work within the National Health Service as well. And I'm quite content doing those. And then my coaching is my side thing, and I think that works well for me.
Wow, that is wonderful. And you are so right about being an entrepreneur and starting
Mm,
your own business. It is more than a notion.
yeah,
Honest to goodness, I think maybe I should do a podcast just on that because it is not
yeah,
for the faint of heart.
mhm,
And it's hard to explain if you've never been through it and walked through it.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is fantastic. So, um, here we are in 2024. Uh, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I love that question. Every time someone asks me, I have something different to say, which is good because it means I'm moving along. Um, I am. I love the jobs I do, and I think I would want to still be doing them to some degree in 10 years' time. I think I would want to be doing more coaching, more kind of personal projects. I hope I'll be financially independent by that point so that I can, kind of pick and choose what I'm doing over time, or with my time, I should say. I want to travel more, live abroad in, maybe two or three other countries. Um, just really experience life because I think it's important not just to be focused on career and kind of the academic side of life, but also to enjoy exploring cultures and just enjoying time with loved ones as well. So I really want to make strides towards having a more balanced life. I feel like all I do now is work, so I need to kind of balance that out later on.
Yes, yes. You're preaching my husband's legacy. He believes in that balance and vacations and resting and and I'm
Yeah,
like you, work, work, work.
yeah.
Well, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, Dr. Akaho, I want to say it right. What a beautiful name. I'm telling you, it is so um, interesting to see how far we've come as Black
Mm,
people, no matter what side of the pond we're on. Um, do you find, that there are still forces in the UK, like here in America,
mm.
that I don't know how else to put it. They just don't want us to succeed.
I'd say yes. I think it's split between people who may not want us to succeed and people who can't believe we have. Because I've encountered so many situations where I might even introduce myself as the doctor, and they'll still think I'm their nurse. And there's nothing wrong with nursing. I highly respect them, but it's just the whole case of, okay, you've actually told them this is my role, but something in their brain just doesn't connect with that, and they're like, okay, so you're the nurse, blah 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 blah. When will I see the doctor? I'm like, I am your doctor. So I've had times like that. I've had times even before I got into medical school. One of my favorite teachers, I was just like, I'm going to be a doctor, and he was like, I don't think. And like I was just like, what? What? And he was like, oh, you need steady hands to be a doctor. And I remember I was in my English class and I literally just put my hands out and I was like, my hands aren't shaking. So I feel like there are people who, even people who kind of genuinely like you and want you to do well. I think the idea of seeing you in a role that they're not used to seeing a black person in can be very kind of not mind blowing. I feel like that's an exaggeration, but I feel like there's some kind of disconnect in terms of accepting that this is where we are now. And I'm hoping that the more people that go into the medical field, the more we can get past that, and it will just be commonplace. In the same way you see, white male, white female doctors, you will see black female and black male doctors, and it will just be just the natural kind of case of things. I don't like the idea that medical schools are having to kind of fulfill a quota and say, okay, we want to have this number of people from this background and this number of people from here. I get why they do it, but I feel like the fact that we still need to tells us that there's a lot of work to be done.
I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. Um, it is so sad that that is the world in which we live. And um, well, one thing, if it's not being black that is so-called the problem with some people, do you find your gender being also a problem with some of your patients and colleagues?
Not so much. The, I don't know about how it is like worldwide or in America, but I feel like the medical field is actually becoming quite female dominated. I do medical school interviews, and when they're talking about the numbers of people applying and their backgrounds, we're actually finding that slightly more females are being drawn into medicine these days. So it's quite interesting. One of the things that I do also encounter is the fact that I look really young for my age. So I feel like, as well as being black and female, there's the youth aspect of it, and I think it's great because when I'm 60, I'll still look like I'm 40 or something. But yeah, like I find that that's also a thing, and I never know when I have patients calling me by my first name or like those sort of situations. I never know whether it's because I'm young, because I'm black, and they're not sure if I am the doctor, or whether they're doing this to all the other doctors nowadays. But I just can't imagine there being, like an old school white male doctor who who parents and clients would just kind of refer to by first name. So I always kind of wonder, like, what is it about my demographic that leads to that? And I don't know if it's just a 2024 thing or whether it's related to my background. So that's something I've also noticed.
Yes, very valid, very valid. The things we have experienced, um, I can tell you, uh, just in some recent experiences with me, it's gender and race, or race and gender. It's like both are equally an issue for somebody,
Yeah,
and I think the stance that I've taken is that's not my problem. I can't
exactly.
I can't dwell on it, that
Yeah,
I'm not struggling with who I am and what I'm called to do and become and all of that. So
yeah.
I just let that stay with whoever has the issue. I can't do that.
And hope that you educate them somehow without even meaning to. Because I've had people say things like, "Your English is very good," and I'm thinking, well, given that it's the only language I can speak, I would hope so. And yeah, like there's been so many incidents, even during medical school. Like when we were allowed to go into surgeries. I remember there was one lady in her 90s who said something like, what is she doing here? To my colleagues, and there were other surgeons in the room. No one said anything. And she was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Well, I'm from London." She's like, "No, but where are your parents?" And I said, "Oh, well, they're in London." And she was really trying to get at something. And it was really awkward for me, but also for the people around me as well, my white colleagues. But it was interesting because no one said anything. And then when they'd given her the anesthetic and put her to sleep, then the head surgeon said something by way of apology in some way and just said, forgive her. She's in her 90s. She's always lived in this small town. She's never kind of met any black people, etc. But I thought that actually your apology should have been made whilst I was speaking, while she was awake, so that she could hear that you were embarrassed on her behalf. Because in that situation, she learnt nothing. And I think that's one of the barriers that we need to overcome.
Yes, Yes and yes. I just like you, telling me after the fact, in a one-on-one that
Mm,
you're on my side
yeah.
carries little to no weight with
Hmm.
me. You
Yeah.
know, until you are willing to stand with me shoulder to shoulder and
Exactly.
speak up on my behalf, to me it's just you're wasting oxygen.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's so true. It's like, yeah, that's really nice, but I know, I know that she's uneducated, but she doesn't know. She's gone to sleep, woken up. It's a lovely day. Nothing's been wrong, and she'll carry on doing what she does. So, yeah, that those sort of things. I think that was maybe, let's say, 12 years ago or something. But I don't know how far we are from that kind of comment or those sort of situations now.
Right, right. Wow. Well, Dr. L, you are doing an amazing job on the UK, in the UK, and for the clients that you serve. I am just so excited. So, what does the word empowerment mean to you?
I think it just means reminding people of what's within them, because I am a very big believer that we all have power within us. It's not something we have to give someone or something they have to find outside of themselves. It's something that is there, and people need to be reminded, or even have, for the very first time in their lives, for some people, have that shown to them. And I think through speaking to people, asking the right questions, showing people what they've already done, I think you are able to help people recognize that power, then use it. Because I think it's one thing to hold a tool or hold something in your hands like power, and then it's another thing to actually implement it and do something that you can impact people with on the outside. So for me, empowerment is just showing people who they are, and showing them what they can do.
Wow, and I know you are just the person to do that. When you get back to coaching, I know you're going to just knock it out of the park because
Thank
you
you.
are a living, breathing, walking miracle and testimony to empowerment and being able to overcome obstacles to get where you want to be in life. And
Thank
so
you.
you're tremendous. You are tremendous. Well, I was about to ask you another question and it just slipped my mind. Um, but is there any words of encouragement you want to offer our listeners, no matter where they are in life and what their background is?
I would say be the pioneer. And it was something that someone said to me. So after my first year as a doctor, I was really struggling with confidence. And I started to see a coach through my workplace. And the lady was saying, what do you think is at the root of things? What's the issue? And I just said, look, there's no one who looks like me in a senior role. I don't know like how to be, kind of thing. And she was just like, well, if there's no one there, be the pioneer. And that really stuck with me. So that would have been back in, I think, 2011, and it really stuck with me. And I just thought, yeah, if I go into a room and there's no one like me, then I'm going to be the first at what I'm doing. But it shouldn't be a reason that I stop doing anything. So I would say to all of your listeners, be the pioneer.
Yes, 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 yes. Dr. L, thank you so much for being with us today. You are an amazing
My
woman
pleasure.
and an amazing example to all of us, no matter what our gender, where we come from. You are a wonderful example of all that we can be. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
No, thank you. And keep
Uh,
doing great work.
I intend to. Thank you. If you will just hang out for a minute, I'm going to wrap up the show and I'll be back with you, okay? Oh my goodness. Yes, that was my friend. Yes. Oh my goodness. Dr. Eleanor Akaho. She is amazing from the UK. Let me tell you, she is making her mark. She is leaving a legacy already. No matter how young you are, you can build and leave a legacy for generations to come. What a powerful example of all that we can do and become if we will just set our minds to do it and have the confidence knowing that we have the skills, we have the tenacity, and we have the heart filled of compassion to be successful and to help other people. I tell you, I'm so proud to be a friend of Dr. L's. I'm so glad to be able to say I have global friends, and we've never met face to face, but we video often throughout the week, and so we've had a great time of talking and learning about what each other does and the impacts we're making on either side of the pond, as I say. And so I encourage you, whatever it is that God has placed in your heart to do or to become, do it with all your might. Do it. Stop trying to figure out all the details and how is this going to work out? How is this going to happen? And how am I going to pay for this? Forget about all that. If God put it on in your heart, let him take care of the bill. Let him take care of the details. He's the one that came up with the idea and he gave it to you. All you need to focus on is doing it. So I encourage you, be blessed, be encouraged, but most of all, be empowered to do something to make a difference in someone else's life. I'll see you next time on Empowered Heart to Heart.